Good to go?
Good to go.
What's up, folks? Welcome back to the Orion Training Group YouTube channel. Today we are going to be talking to you about a lot of miscellaneous equipment storage, but we're going to focus mostly on breaching stuff. So mechanical tools or personal carry tools, not the big rams or the full-size Halligans that you'll see, but the stuff that we keep on our back or on our side. That includes ballistic as well. So we're talking about shotguns. We have a Remington and a Mossberg. It's going to be an interesting discussion there. There's a lot of different pros and cons to different methods, but we'll have these two. Mitchell and I carry those differently. We carry tools on our backs a little differently, so it's cool to kind of see the differences. The belt versus the kit versus the lanyard systems and all that kind of stuff. And then we're also going to talk about explosives. Now, a caveat on that, we are not going to talk about charge type, charge construction, placement drills, where you put it on the doors, any of that kind of crap. This is for if you already know about explosive breaching and you're trying to refine how you store stuff on your kit. There are some different ways to do it, including if you're on a team or you work in an area where you may need to do multiple charges in the same operation. How do you go about storing that, whether it's interior charges, exterior charges, different types of stuff. So we'll kind of jump into all that. But the first thing, like I said, is going to be the tools. Mitchell, you want to talk about anything real quick before you jump into how you carry this?
No, we pretty much introduced it pretty well. So yeah, we're just going to show you kind of some of the stuff that we do. There's a lot of other options out there and some tools that you aren't going to see. Unfortunately, all of our mechanical tools are actually out with other dudes right now that are doing shit.
Yeah.
So I just have one of my personal tools. It's just a wrecking bar with the tooth chopped off of it. So we can use this as a demo, but it could be a pry, a sledge, whatever other kind of mechanical tool that has a head and a handle.
And we use the same lanyard on all those.
Right.
Same system would be across all those.
But some other stuff that you're not going to see are like saws and stuff like that we just don't have on hand.
Thermal lances, things like that. Like, we're not going to talk about carry. It's such a niche thing, and we are not those guys on our teams either, even though we're both breachers.
You're not that guy, pal.
Yeah. I have climbed up a 4-inch caving ladder with a rescue saw on my back, the big concrete saws, and that is not fun because you're climbing up this little bitty. I mean, my hand is bigger than that, and I'm trying to climb up this thing with that whipping me around. So you have to have specific ways to do that. Breaching is a specific use case. It's just like long-range shooting. There's little nuances to what we do, just like how they're having their stuff set up. There's a science to it. And so if you are one of those guys or you're just curious about it, you're LARPing, airsofting, whatever, and you're trying to figure out, well, how do I set my stuff up realistically? This will hopefully help you refine some things, whether you're an end user or just, here out of curiosity. So why don't you tell them about how you store yours on the back, the function of the lanyard and all that.
Yep. So first we're going to talk about, like I said, just mechanical tools that have some form of handle and some kind of head on them.
A shaft.
This shaft, yep. So what a lot of people do that you'll still see guys doing is they'll use a PVC tube, drill a couple holes in it, and they zip tie that to their back panel. I basically took that idea and just used modern materials. So mine is made of Tigris instead. We'll try to get some close-up shots of it here in a little bit.
Drop it in the comments. Is it Tigris or Tegris?
Tigris. It's a thermal plastic.
It's not Tigris, which is what Jason says.
It's that bling shit that you see on all the Pharaoh stuff. So basically what I've done is I have the Pharaoh water panel and their banger panel here, and in between is where I've kind of sandwiched in other tools and everything because I want to try to utilize the space as best as I can. So what I've done, there's two gaps on the sides. One, you can see I have flex cuffs that are actually deployable from the bottom. On the other side is where this loop of Tigris comes through the gap.
He's nervous now.
And what
got him. We got him.
And what this does is it allows to keep this channel open, so I can take my tool and then just drop it straight in through that, and it'll feed it out through the bottom of the plate bag. So you can, like I said, you can do that with this, sledges, whatever else. Because this has the pry on the bottom of it, it's a little misshapen. It's a little stiffer to slide through there, but something cylindrical will just slide right through, no problem.
The big thing to look at if you guys are going to fabricate this yourself, have a custom pouch made or whatever the largest thing is that you're going to use. Like for my, I don't have it because again, it's with dudes right now that are doing stuff more important than this video. The base of the mini Halligan I have from Fire Tools or Fire Hooks or whatever, it's a 14-inch Halligan, but it's 2-ish, 2¼ inch wide at the bottom where the forks are welded into the shaft. And so I had to make sure when I'm making my stuff that the overall diameter of the internal portion of that tube is that wide. Yours is more flexible material and can compress. So something to think about when you have a compressible material is, if I lay this kit flat to store it, if I'm leaning up against something in a car, when I'm doing vehicle takedowns and I don't have this on my back, is the material I'm using compressible enough that eventually I'm going to have problems taking that tool in and out. But anyway, that's a sidebar. Go ahead, sir.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't ran into that problem yet, but it is something to keep in mind for the long term. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this on real quick so you can show you how the lanyard works here. We've covered it in other videos, but for the sake of us talking about tool storage, so once you get this put on, what you're going to do is you're going to take your lanyard, feed it under your arm, and go across the chest, and then hook it in. Something that's easier to do is you can put like a carabiner or something, so you just have an easy attachment point. I just use the shoulder straps that are built into the carrier. And
Faro makes that easy.
Yep, it makes it really good. And then also part of their carry option is to just have the metal rings on there anyway instead of the buckles, and you could just use that as well. So if you're going to deploy it, all you got to do is unhook it. You're going to take this, loop it around your arm, pull over your head, and now you can deploy your own tool. You don't have to have somebody else come and get it for you. And then for this lanyard, so this isn't swinging all over the place, there's an eyelet in the bottom that's usually for pulling nails. I can just hook that right through there, and now this acts as a sling on its own as well. So instead of trying to shove it in the back, if I have to stow it really quick, I can just throw it over my arm and continue on my way, and I'm not going to leave my tool behind.
Later on, a buddy can sling it for you. One of the advantages of those PVC tubes, spin around 180, I'll show them the back, how you have yours. You see how the top, this is even with the top of his carrier, which is really good. And I bet you with some practice, you can find that hole without looking. With that curved thing. Try it. There you go. Boom, done. So now he's got it back in, and pushing it down, depending on what the material's made out of, could make a problem or not. Because it's a softer material, you have that prong. But if you had a PVC pipe here, this is part of why it's taught at certain schools, you can kind of adjust that height. I used to like to run mine more even with the top of the shoulder strap and not the top of the plate, because it was less, I could basically just come back with the tool that would meet the top of that pipe. And because the pipe is slick on the inside, there's no compression to it, there's nothing, no soft fabric or plastic that can be grabbed by a tool face. I just let the tool go and it would thunk down in, and then you run your strap back under. So
you want to explain to them the purpose of why we run the lanyard this way?
Yeah, the lanyard's under the arm, just bend at the waist. The lanyard is under his arm because even if it was to start to pull out this way, this string is stopping, you can stand up now, sir, that forward movement. So it's creating a, I guess a stress loop, if you want to call it that, under his arm, and as he moves, it pulls taut, and it can't pull out of the pouch itself on the back. You have to defeat that lanyard first. The lanyard also allows, again, self-deployment. He can unclip, swing, and pull the tool over his head. He doesn't have to have a buddy, you know, hey, breacher up, and the guy's like, let me get your tool out, dude, and gets it out. And you're like, now that I'm done breaching, can you put it back for me? So it's multi-purpose, and it's been taught that way at some places for 50 years. I mean, it's easy, and I've used this many, many times. It works very well. Just another thing to practice. Something else to consider if you were to throw your rifle on is how you run your rifle and how the sling would compete with that. You have to figure out if you're the kind of guy that's never going high port, your team doesn't allow high port, if you're always running in like a patrol carry with your sling under your arm, you don't want those things crossing in the back. If you're running around your neck, when you go to deploy that tool, just make sure you don't run it through the necklace of the sling. So it's just stuff to practice. But that's basic tool storage on the back using a lanyard.
Yep.
Good to go?
Yep.
And I would not do anything different. I have refitted these to not have tools on the back for now. But I would do the exact same thing on these panels. I can add a tube to either side of either panel that I'll talk about here in a minute. So my personal preference on how I carry those tools wouldn't change. I do like a more rigid liner though. I don't really like soft pouches because of the compression that they bring. But if you are going to use a rigid tube, the problem with it is when you go get in a car to do a vehicle takedown, now you're sitting all cattywampus because you had this big piece of PVC sticking off your back and you can't take it off because it's zip tied on. So if you were to take a rigid pouch or even that type of pouch, put it on a back panel, you can just unclip that back panel for vehicle missions and now you don't have to worry about it.
Right. That's for something that's modular, kind of like the removable back panel.
Correct.
Really comes into play, and that's something we'll chat about in a minute too.
Yep, absolutely.
So
you want to talk about shotguns?
So we talked about mechanical, so we want to move to ballistic.
Yeah, so let's talk about the pros and cons of all that. Obviously, a mechanical tool takes time. You have to get purchase point, you have to apply force, you have to be pretty near the door in a lot of ways. Ballistic breaching can help be faster. It introduces light and sound, right? It can be a distracting thing, but it also introduces fragmentation. you are shooting a firearm through a piece of cover or concealment or whatever you want to call it, through a space you can't see, and introducing fragmentation into that room. So a lot of people shy away from this now. A lot of people still use it. It's really good in HR situations or whatever. Maybe I don't have time to get out of charge, plug it in and all that kind of stuff, depending on how you're doing your charge deployment, which again, we're not talking about that in detail. Ballistic solves a lot of problems, but you also now have, it's like the OG Call of Duty. I got a rifle, I got a shotgun, I got a pistol. You have all this shit hanging off of you. As the breaching TL for the first department, the first team that I was on, all my breachers had to carry a minimum of 2 things. So whether that was a strip charge or a lock strip or whatever, and a shotgun, or a shotgun and a hammer, or a pry and a hammer, you just had to have 2 solutions. And with 8 dudes in the stack that are breachers, especially with multi-cell movement, at some point, if you call breacher up, there's going to be a dude within arm's reach that has something on him that can defeat that door. So ballistic breaching is a really good option to be quick, to be easy. If you don't want to carry a bunch of stuff on your back, you can sling this on your side. There are people that teach to sling this on your back. I'm not a huge fan of that because when I deploy it, I have to come over my back with it, flag the world, and cross the plane of my teammates. If you deploy it from your hip or from your side, if you're using a magnet panel or whatever else, you can bring it straight from the side to the door. So he and I both run belt mounts. You want to show him your belt mount?
Yeah, throw the belts on.
Mine is the same. While he's putting that on, I'll talk about mine. It's the exact same thing. His is just tan, I think. It's a Black Hawk Stealth Mod 3 or Mark 3. It is basically just a piece of aluminum or metal in there, and it has, the reason it's the stealth version, it doesn't have Velcro anymore. It has this little retention lanyard here. This is so, when I'm on the truck or running to target or whatever, the shotgun is going to be inside this loop and it can't make it out. Last cover and concealment or at the final assault point, take that off, and now the shotgun can pass out of it. And that is how he's going to actually deploy it. This is flagged safe. Chamber's empty, look and feel. Nothing in the tube, nothing in the chamber. And then we'll make it cruiser ready. Hammer down. There you go.
Thanks, sir. So we also have a little variance in how we attach them to our carrier as well for how they're hanging. We both use a buckle that's coming from the shoulder, so that way we can detach it, because I don't always need to carry this thing with me. But once we've attached it, all you have to do is swing it backwards, put it in that weapons catch, and now, like he was just talking about, it's secured, it's out the way. Even though it kind of hangs back a little bit, I haven't had any problems with it like smacking doorways or anything like that. But then it's super easy to deploy. All I have to do is pull it out, rack my round in, reach the door, kick, stow it back, and we're back up.
Yeah, you can, if you get good at this, you can breach, kick, turn outboard, get your rifle back up, and be the 3rd man in the stack, and it might take 3 seconds total. We actually have that on some of our demo videos on YouTube and from Faro Concepts. We ran a bunch of reps with those dudes that run that company, and was able to demonstrate that with their kit. So that's what he's running. That's the same system. You have your lanyard tied in back here, don't you?
That's what I was just about to mention.
Okay, go ahead.
Ours are both, like I said, buckled from the shoulder. The difference is he's using a T-hook.
Molly T-hook. So it threads through webbing. It's in the shape of a T, which is why they call it a T-hook. So you could stick this on any molly. Like if you wanted to run your shotgun somewhere silly, you could put it right through there, right? You just thread it through. Or you could fit it, if you had a molly strap in here or something, you could fit it in there. The problem with that on mine is that it drags, the attachment point is on the front, and it drags that side of the carrier down a little bit, so it's kind of shifting my weight on my upper body. I'll feel a little more sore on that shoulder than on the other side because I have all the weight of that loaded shotgun pulling on one side.
Now, even for mine, even though it's a little different, I still get a little bit of the plate carrier shift, a little more soreness on my left side, but it's alleviated a little bit because I cannot for the life of me remember the brand right now of where I got the strap. But the way it works is it hooks through the molly on the rear plate bag and comes over your shoulder. So this strap that you can see actually runs through my shoulder pad here and then mounts on the back side of the plate carrier through the molly webbing. And what that does is it allows it to distribute some of the weight of the shotgun onto across the entire shoulder pad rather than only being in one point.
Attachment point.
And then it's also you're using leverage because it's hooked all the way on the back side. So alleviates some of the stuff that he was just talking about, but you can't really get rid of all of it because it's a huge chunk of metal hanging off of your shoulder. So
yeah, let's also talk about why we have it on our non-dominant side. This is an argument you'll see from people that think they know everything, or that it's the one way. You can run it behind your pistol or you can run it behind your offside stuff. Why would you articulate that you like it on your offside set up behind your pistol?
For me, it's just kind of like a balance of weight thing, but also
Okay.
it's not going to interfere with my draw at all. It's
Yeah.
just completely out the way. And then I'm not reaching down for my pistol hitting my shotgun or whatever else.
And where do you normally sling your rifle when you're doing something
And
else?
if I'm going to stow my rifle, I'm going to swim my right arm through and hook it behind my pistol. And then that acts as a weapons catch in itself. Being the pistol, it keeps it from swinging around, falling forward, whatever else, even though I still have access to my pistol. So then by doing that, it's out the way on the other side, and then I can easily access my shotgun on
Yeah.
my non-dominant side.
There's a lot of reasons to run it on your offside, but it's not wrong to run it behind your pistol either. So running it behind the pistol just
That was the
means
common practice for a long time, was
behind the pistol,
weapons
yeah.
right,
Yeah, and without a weapons catch, it just runs behind the pistol like you just said. It just floats. And then the weapons catch is actually not even designed for this originally. It was made to catch M203s, and you just bungeed your gun into it for climbing ladders or jumping off helicopters, fast roping or whatever. It's been now used for this purpose. Kind of like with everything in breaching, we kind of just use whatever works and kind of make it our own. But if you're going to run your shotgun behind your pistol, you could use the exact same system. You could put a weapons catch there. You don't have to. Once it's run behind that pistol and nested there, when you go to switch to your shotgun or to put hands on somebody and do your lethal and hands drills, you would put your rifle now on this side. So you would change your order of movement and where you store shit because your shotgun's now on the same side as your pistol and not vice versa. So it's just understanding your equipment, how it's set up, and then how you are going to deploy or stow things.
Yeah, and little nuances. So like, he still has his retention strap here. I was running into the issue of, even though it was detached and just hanging there, I would snag on it all the time trying to stow the shotgun away. I just completely took it off. I haven't found that the shotgun comes out of the catch on its own basically ever, even if I'm sprinting with it, especially because it's not at a perfect 9 o'clock to where the shotgun can ride backwards. It's turned. It's pulling from the front.
It's got a little pull forward.
Yeah, so to get it out, I actually have to rotate the shotgun outward just a little bit to come through the weapons catch. Otherwise, it's pinned in.
That's just knowing your equipment.
Yep.
Yeah, I only use the lanyard for like I said, I'm in the truck or I'm hanging off the side of a TRV or something, and I don't want it to bounce out.
Yep.
But I haven't had any trouble with it moving either. So.
And then you have a shotgun placard on the front of your carriers.
Yeah. So my shotgun card, I think, is from Dynamic Principles. It holds 5, and then you can also store more in things we're going to talk about later. But I like it right here, like it vertical. So when I'm loading that shotgun, as a lefty, if I have it in front of me, and I'm here, I'm stripping the shell up and placing, stripping the shell up and placing. So that makes it easy for me.
And it's the same reason I have them facing this way, is because I can pull them out this direction and then feed them into the shotgun. So.
Yeah. It's no different than having your bullets facing forward, bullets facing down, bullets the center line, just easing of the economy of motion for your loads. And again, that's something you should practice.
And then, because people are going to ask, this one is from S-Tech.
Okay, cool. And it's, how long have we been making shotgun holders on Velcro? It's just duck hunting and, skeet shooting and whatever. So it's not anything crazy, not anything proprietary. But
don't get the one that adheres to the side of your shotgun. Put it on your kit.
Yeah, that's silly. It's going to add a lot of girth, and then those are going to get stripped out by movement and other things. So had that for about 5 minutes on one before, ran a few reps, and decided I hated it, never gone back. One thing to talk about on the shotguns themselves, it's not really germane to the video, but the pistol grip, I know I'm going to get asked, why are you using this and not a pistol grip? This is what came on it, and it's not that big of a deal. These are not kicking, it's just don't be victim weight and hold it right, and it won't kick. But the pistol grip is easier on your wrist. It's just simply easier on your wrist. That is a better solution, and if you're able to get something with a pistol grip for breaching, do it. But this will still get the job done, even if it's not the most ideal setup.
So why did you choose the Remington over the Mossberg?
It's what was available. Yeah, as a left-handed person, I like the Mossberg safety because it's neutral in this top. I can use my left hand. On this one, I just have to be really aware of what the safety's doing and physically check to make sure it's switched off. Some places teach to run cruiser ready with safety off, so you never have to fool with the safety. That's originally how it was actually taught to me, and then it's changed, it's updated, it's this, it's that. But if you run the shotgun properly, it should be cruiser ready, which is hammer down on an empty chamber, and originally it was taught safety off, so that whenever I go to fire this thing, so again, look, feel, it's empty, safe direction, hammer down. This is how it's going to be on my kit. I whip this thing out, and all I have to do is rack one in and pull the trigger. I don't have to go, it is on fire, That's what's nice about the Mossberg is if you're running cruiser ready and safety on, I don't have to do anything but just push it forward. I don't have to, as a left-handed person especially. So just things to consider. Again, know your equipment, know your procedures, know your why. I think that's pretty much everything on the shotguns, huh?
Yeah, so now we get into the fun stuff.
Yeah, so again, not talking about what the charges are and the grains and all that kind of stuff. It's just, we'll talk about what some of the terms mean and things, but you guys have to understand that if this topic is not for you, just be happy that you're here and try to get something out of it.
Shut up and enjoy the video.
Yeah. Fuckers. All right, so we'll talk about the back panels here in a minute. Efficient storage for explosive breaching. There's a lot of different charges that can be stored inside of a pouch. For example, something like what is commonly called a fruit roll-up. They call it that because it looks like a fruit roll-up. That can be put in pretty much anything. You could put that in a dump pouch, front flap. You could put it in a cargo pocket, which how a lot of guys are running those. I mean, hell, I could put it in my skinny jeans pocket if I wanted to. So there's a lot of ways you can store something like that. Depending on how you're taught, I know that some schoolhouses teach to direct prime everything. Some schoolhouses teach to use red devils or the K-clips or any sort of device that separates the blasting cap from the charge until the last second that it's time to actually blow the thing up. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about a couple different ways to do that. You have a Red Devil type system set up on yours right now, right?
Yeah, I just didn't have a dummy Red Devil.
That's fine.
I have my cap.
The idea of keeping the cap separate from the charge, I have one over here, Steven, you're good. The idea of keeping the cap separate from the charge is just that if something bad were to happen, I only have a little bit of explosive going off and not a huge charge strapped to me that's going off. So we'll talk about direct prime real quick. Something like this, which would be called like a lock strip or a strip charge. This is going to be used for interior breaching. This is all inert stuff, by the way. If you're a Fed watching this and just creaming your pants right now, this is all fake. It's all, what do we make this out of? Det cord wrapped in?
Nonal.
Yes, this is nonal wrapped in duct tape to simulate the width of det cord. So this is stored just in an admin flap. It's got its nonal stress relief and all that. I like to not have any exposed cords if I can help it. So what I'm using is a Soil Eater is the brand. STR, a shock tube retainer. Shock tube is what we call nonal here in America. That is keeping it in its figure-eighted position, stored where there's not a whole lot of snag hazards. And then I have my firing device. This is a inert training M81 military firing device. Have that nested in here in a mag pouch. You could get other purpose-built pouches if you wanted to. There's firing device pouches and all kind of stuff. The reason I'm putting all that stuff up here is it's in front of my plates. So if it were to go off, the main blast of all that is going to be directed away from that plate. Now it's going to mess me up. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a really bad day. But it's different than it being in like a cargo pocket. And again, that's a direct prime. That means that the blasting cap is in intimate contact with the explosive, and when we fire the firing device, or if something really, really bad happened, like it got shot in the blasting cap and it went off, it would be over a plate. Now, when we talk about things that we're going to do a different connector to, like Tease calls them Red Devils. There's other companies that teach like with the K-clips, K-factor breaching. You take that other system, the actual explosive device, and you keep it away from the blasting cap until later. So again, we're not going through placement procedures and stuff like that, but talking through how you have yours set up now.
Right. Yeah, so I would carry, like you was saying, Fruit Loop, IDC, stuff like that. I would just carry in this Shaw dangler here. It has the 3A backer in it, so I at least have some kind of ballistic protection between it and myself. Though, to be honest, with the size of these charges, it probably won't make a whole lot of
fruit roll-up's probably going to cut you in half.
Yeah. But at least I feel better inside,
Yeah, that's right.
But then I'm definitely keeping my cap over my plate, and it's separate from my charge. So, like he was talking about, he's using the Soil Eater tube of elastic to hold
love you, Dan.
his nonal. And then basically I was told I had to give credit where credit is due. This is a knockoff of the Darcy Cobb system, because I'm not paying $250 for a tube of plastic. So all I did was I took my a center punch initiator and got a piece of PVC that it fit right inside of with an O-ring, so it holds it in place. And then I just cut notches in the bottom of the PVC so that I could pull the nonal back out, tape it up top, coil it. Obviously, I ran out of room, so I taped it, ran it back up to the top, coiled it again, and that way it's always feeding downward. So it'll start with the outermost, and then I'm using a painter's tape because it rips really easy. So as I'm pulling it, it'll tear, and I'll uncoil the top one, and then when it gets pressure, it'll uncoil the bottom one, and then I've got electrical tape for my stress relief at the top. So what I can do is I can set my charge, and then once I'm actually able to cap into it, I would take this out, cap in, and then I can strip this, feed out my line, and that way I'm not dropping a big old hairball of line, which if you coil it correctly, you shouldn't have any issues.
Which is not hard to do, but this just makes it even easier.
Yeah. So
pros and cons to both, right? If this gets tangled, you have to untangle it. That just goes as you're moving back because you're pulling plastic across plastic.
All clear.
PVC are you using to perfectly fit that punch in there?
It's a great question.
This is
I bought a couple different sizes. I think this is 1.25 inches.
This is the Kiwi breaching punch. This is a single punch. Sometimes for operational, you want to use dual primes. You need 2 punches.
So they make a collet that holds either 2 shotgun primers or 1 shotgun primer to 2 nozzles.
Yep.
So you can use a single punch initiator for dual line if you're running dual prime systems.
And again, if you speak that language, you already know what we're talking about, so we won't go much more into that. So that's all stuff that's hosted on the front of us. What if I wanted stuff besides small charges that I can fit in packs up front? Well, now we're going to talk about some really, really cool systems. Some stuff that comes from 2 different companies. First one we're going to talk about is from Rigel Design. This is a MOLLE panel. Pop it off here real quick. The MOLLE panel, it's got MOLLE on both sides because it actually has a couple different purposes. But what's really cool about it to me is that it's magnetically attached as well in the back. So it attaches like any other, take my drag line off of here. It attaches like any other back panel. Like for example, we have the Shaw one right here. They have the same Swift clip setup, right? Using QASM buckles. But what's cool about the Rigel, and it's the only one in the industry that does this, it goes back in the same place every time because the magnets hold it. And if we were to put, like I talked about before, a tube on the back of this so I could take it on and off for vehicle assaults, that heavy ass hammer thing on here, on most of these pouch types, or these panel types, is going to cause some lateral swing, some pull. It's going to sit on my back all catty cornered. But because these magnets catch it and the attachment point's tighter up top, even I've run this without the side buckles just to see, sprinting with a hammer attached to the back of it, and I don't have any lateral movement because the magnets hold it in place, which is a really neat feature. You don't have the wear and tear on it. You don't have the floppiness. The tool's always going to be in the same place every time. So really, really cool product. I think they're like $160. It comes with buckles on each side. It has multiple attachment points, so you can change the height of the buckles. They're completely adjustable, and then they use G-hooks on the top, so you can pop those off. Pop these off out of the bottom, and one of the things the manufacturer talks about, they have a handle here. It's not a drag handle for being wounded or whatever. You can fill up either side of this thing because it's got MOLLE on both sides with pouches, and you can drop this into a backpack or whatever else, and this becomes like a IFAK or a med panel, right? So you could drop this into anything and just say, hey, I've got a med panel here in my med bag. You could have cards of them and just toss it to somebody if they need it.
So what's nice about that too, compared to like pre-made panels like these that zip on, is while these are zip-on panels and they're easy to take on or take off and put back on, this is way faster, and it's completely customizable to whatever you want because it's a MOLLE panel.
Yeah, and in a minute we'll cut to me with this thing on, and I'll show you taking it on and off and how cool it is. And it's the same exact way that the Shaw one goes on and off. They all work kind of off that same pattern, but this one has the magnets, which is really neat. So back to talking about holding larger charges or just putting charges in places. If I didn't want to have this in a pocket, if I knew I was going to be getting wet, or like, hey, I'm going to infill them, I'm going to get soaked in water in the swamp or whatever, carrying it on something back here, I can swing this panel off, take that charge out myself, swing the panel back, clip it in, and now I have my charge, and it took me 3 or 4 seconds. So it's self-access, self-stow. You could, real quick, I'll talk about this real quick. More cuffs right here. This could be medical or whatever else, just a GP pouch. So this is just refeeding for my cuffs I use up front. Again, I can swing that off myself in some downtime, pull cuffs out, restock the front, sling it back, or I can be like, hey bro, hand me some cuffs off my back, just like any other panel. And then up here, this is, I believe this is actually Shaw's admin pouch, isn't it? And it holds all kinds of stuff, and I love this pouch, but I'm using it for bang storage, my team's SOP, and these are just spent bangs that we just used for training. My team's SOP is a bang up front, a bang in the back. So if someone calls up for a bang, I can either take mine out of my front or the one off my buddy's back in front of me. There's always something in the stack available between two people, generally speaking. So it's really cool to be able to scale all this stuff. If I wanted an even bigger charge and I still wanted self-access to it, something like a folding foam linear or a trifold or anything like that, that's where something like this comes in. So you can buy, this Shaw pack came with these, but you can buy these. It's, I forget, you know what these are called?
Not a clue.
It's got a little like question mark shaped, get it where you can see it, hook, and then you can pull this cord through, and that hook is on the thing that allows it to pull freely, this little collar. So you thread that through any molly, and then it fits back onto itself, just a bungee. Get a little positive click, and now I have an adjustable loop, and that's how I have this attached to this. So I would swing this pack off and around to the front. I would take my linear charge off, and I'm done. I don't have to have anybody hand me anything, or I could just have a buddy, hey man, unclip that and hand it to me. But it's cool to be able to do things hands-free, or rather without a teammate, by myself, and I'd be able to deploy a much larger charge if I needed to. Another thing that's really cool about this back panel, it's got all kinds of room in it. Speaking of which, this is the only one in Multicam Tropic ever made, because he made it for your boy. So if you're watching, Shaw, thank you. And I use this thing all the time. I love this pack. It's got a water bladder insert in here. Let's see where y'all can see that a little better. We got to follow the tradition. And then it has the self-access up here up top. So I can do with what Mitchell's doing there the exact same thing. I can put bolt cutters, a hammer, a pry. I've run 2 sets of tools on this thing, one going over each shoulder. And even though it's not reinforced at the bottom with Hypalon or any other type of more dense material, it does have really heavy stitching inside that water bladder, and it works really well.
He makes a tool insert now.
Yes, he does.
Which is more Tigris.
I fussed at him for 1.5 years. He finally made one. The problem is with this one, and I don't know if the modern or the current ones have this anymore, when you try to put a tool back into this, sometimes it will snag if you have like the teeth on the bottom of a Halligan. They'll get caught on these loops. What's cool about this is for medical, any pouches you have that don't have Velcro on them, for example, this Microbat pouch can just stick to that. But if you have something that doesn't have that feature, you can thread any Molly pouch onto this. That's just one side of it. You also can separate this out into different segments. For example, here I have what we were talking about before. I have an initiator. Again, this is just training stuff. It's all spent and reused, and this is an airsoft mag simulating a punch. It's got the little hole right there. So this is something like for one of these larger charges, I can flip this pack off, take this out the top, take my charge off, zip the pack up, put it back on, again, all by myself. And now I have the firing device and the clip-in and the larger charge, and I still didn't have to have anybody helping me. So another thing you could do with it, the reason I have my med kit up here is because I can take something like this and all the contents in it. I can actually fit this entire fanny pack in this bottom pouch here. I'm not going to do it because I have a bunch of stripped MREs in there, but I could fit this in there. I could fit 4 times what's in this IFAK, which is freaking stuffed, in this panel. So it makes a great med bag too. So the Rigel design panel is very modular, but it is a Molly panel that you have to add pouches to. Again, it's like 160 bucks, I think. This is like 280 or 300.
It's around $3, yeah.
Yeah, $3. And it offers a lot that this doesn't, but it's pre-made, it's preset. The only thing you're going to be able to add to is what you put on the inside. Or, like I said, if I wanted to put a tube on the side of this, it has Molly here, so you can mount a PVC tube here or whatever. A couple other features on it, just like the Rigel design one, it has different heights. You can change out where the buckles are at. It has padding here, because you can actually replace some of these straps and make it into just a straight up backpack, which is a cool feature too. What's neat about all these back panels and systems that are coming out, you know, 2 or 3 companies have stuff that works off of this. They're all pretty compatible. So even though this one is not made for this, they're all going to click in together. And if I needed to scale up or do whatever, I could. I'll have to change the width on this one. This one is sized to my Cry AVS, which is much bulkier on the sides than this duty kit. And just has different features on it. But just to make the point that with just a little adjustment in sizing, Now I could scale up to something like this if I had to, go out in the woods or whatever else. And it's just 4 QASM buckles. So really, really cool stuff. And we're back. So there's a couple ways you can don or doff this thing from the manufacturer. If you don't have a giant water head like I do, one of the things he talks about doing is you can deploy it from the front and flip it over like this. So once again, if you had stuff on the back of it, if you just letting it stick off your back more, you could have stuff here. I could pop it out, rotate it, do whatever. So that's like an over-the-head deployment. And if I wanted to, again, not going to work at all with a helmet, right? But now on the back here, you can see it's snapped in directly to the magnets. I didn't have to do anything with it. I just grabbed the straps, I'm plugged in, which is honestly a really cool system. The magnets, I think, are extremely unique and not something you're seeing from anybody else in this part of the market. Now, if I wanted to do a side deployment, you pop one side, and then you have to maintain a hold on the shoulder of the other side, and you just pass it around. And now I have it in front of me. Now, if I want to go back, again, just through the arm, over the head, it's on the magnets, boom, and then I just grab the other clip, right here, and plug it in. So side deployment, over the head deployment, the magnets just click clack right back into place, and I'd be able to grab whatever charge off of it I want and put it back. So it's kind of a really neat system. He does also have in production now, when I say in production, he is working on, in collaboration with some other companies, getting zipper adapters. So if you really wanted this back panel set up exactly, but you're going to do a bunch of vehicle ops, all you have to do is buy the Faro zipper compatibility kit. You put it on the Rigel panel, and boom, you can take your existing stuff, throw it on that, done. And now you just be able to take the panel on and off. Then all it adds is like what? A 1/4 inch of width, something like that.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of functionality for not much extra burden.
Yeah, and like I said, it's only like $160. So the Shaw functions the exact same way. And like I said, I don't really want to fool with the straps because it's sized to the ABS, but over the head, around the side, it's the exact same. And the last thing I'll talk about is it opens all the way up, which you already saw. So if I flipped this thing over my head, I'm able to open this up, or flipped it around the side, I'm able to open it up and get to everything I need instead of having to dig in it from a certain angle because it only opens up like the old school JanSport backpack. So that's kind of the basics.
Yep.
We talked about tools on the back, the lanyards. We talked about shotguns, how to carry them on your belt, whether it's strong side, off side, shoulder lanyards that tie into the back of the kit versus the front of the kit. We talked about direct primed versus not, and carrying caps over your plate, making sure that your nozzle is secure and not going to bump into stuff.
How do you feel about shoving tools into your cummerbund?
I'm not a fan of shoving tools into my cummerbund. The last no-knock that my team did, one of our guys who's a breacher, he's not a new guy, but he's new to being a breacher. I was like, hey man, where are you going to carry that Halligan? Because he was the pry guy. And he's like, oh, I'm shoving my cummerbund, because of course he just learned that at school. And I was like, I'm not a huge fan of that with these big tools, man. And so he jumps off the truck and he's like, because it's just jabbing him. Tries to get it out of his cummerbund when we get up to the final assault point, and he's getting hung up on shit because it's not made for that. The cummerbund is not made to host tools. That's oh shit, I don't have anywhere else to put this. I don't have something set up back here. I'm just going to jam it in there. It is not a primary carry method, which they actually tell you at the school. But he's hard-headed. If you're watching this, I love you. We've already talked about it in person. Now you're just all over YouTube, nameless. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, obviously this is just a way to do a lot of things. This is not the way. This is coming from a combination of different people I've learned from, Mitchell's learned from, different schoolhouses we've been to.
Yeah, this is for guys that are just getting into breaching or having to carry all of this crap, and just some, the little bit of experience that we've had doing it, and some stuff we've tried and stuff we've liked. So you guys can give it a go, or if you have your own way of doing stuff, we'd love to see it. I'm always looking for better ways to carry my stuff and set my stuff up. So as I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
So if you have positive comments, please drop them below. All the negative ones are going to come anyway.
And I'll just delete them because fuck you. I don't really care to hear that kind of negativity in my life. It's my channel. It's not your sounding board. But if you have something important, something useful, whether that's about safety, whether that's about efficient carry methods, you have an actual question, drop it down below, because I do actually, at least for the first couple months of a video being released, actually go read those. After that, I have other stuff I have to do, and I don't spend a lot of time in the YouTube comment section because most of y'all are toxic and can't read. But
I don't know when this video is going to come out. Obviously, we've started talking about breaching. This one was mainly about, some of the stuff and the way that we're carrying it. But we have future plans for videos that are going to involve actually using the tools and showing you guys some basics on mechanical breaching. So
yeah, yeah, it'll be mechanical and hopefully ballistic.
hopefully
If we
ballistic
get
as
the
well.
permission for that
Yeah.
as well. So
Not the spicy stuff.
no,
We
no
can't-
explosives. We have to be really careful with what you talk about on that, and that's why we kept it so general today. I'm not trying to get the old federal PP slap. But if you want to come learn from us in person about tactics, about the equipment, about use cases and movement, and just in general, we offer a ton of stuff. The only breaching stuff that we do actually teach is the one open enrollment class a year that Blake teaches. That's up at Ben Franklin Range, usually in the cooler months. They have a couple breachable doors out there. They have tools that were donated to them by Rule Tech. They have a lot of really cool stuff up there. So if you're looking for mechanical manual breaching with pries and rams, that's the only time and place that we teach it. And it's taught not from the microcosm of law enforcement or military. It's taught just in general principles based like everything else. And it focuses a lot on pry tools. Because most people are not carrying a 35-pound Black Hawk dynamic entry ram in their car. And if you are, you're probably the same guy that carries like a broken down scar and a Vertex bag to the mall. It's just not practical for anybody unless that's, I'm jumping off the truck and running 10 feet to the door. So at any rate, if you want to learn anything from us in person, check it out, oriontraininggroup.com. That is open enrollment for American citizens. Now, if you're not able to come to a class, can't afford it, you're trying to learn remotely or whatever else, we do a lot on the Patreon. That's just patreon.com. Search Orion Training Group and look it up. It's $5 a month. I post anywhere from 8 to 12 times a month about whatever requests. We got book reviews. We got demonstrations, tabletop demonstrations of figurines about tactics and how to handle different problems, weapons, all kinds of breakdowns of how to use different stuff. Literally anything you can think of. You request it, I'm probably going to do a video on it. To include Lego sets. We do some of that on there too.
He'll also show you his toes.
That is not happening at any point because I got to keep these things on lock and key. It would take a lot of money for me to show my toes to somebody. They're that good. But at any rate, thank you guys for watching. We hope you got something out of it. Drop a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe. Cheers.